The Steed token is trending. A lot of people are beginning to ask questions. Should I invest in this project? Is it going to be a good investment or not? A lot of people are asking questions, and this is because the project as we speak is on pre-sale. A lot of people want to get in. So in this video, we're going to be looking at a few things I uncovered, things you should be looking at before you invest in any project, especially projects that are on pre-sale. The first thing you might notice here is that they've got a beautiful website. But of course, a beautiful website is not a guarantee that the project is going to make you a lot of money, right? So that's the first thing I discovered. And then since they are still on pre-sale, it wouldn't be fair to start judging them via their roadmap, right? They are yet to implement most of these things right here. So, and I kind of ignored that. And here is the next important thing I had to look into, right? I looked at the token allocation. This is a very vital area when you are researching any new project, any project that is on pre-sale or already launched. Okay, there are a few things I really like about this allocation, and there are a few things that you might want to kind of pay attention to also. Okay, so for example, 40% bond at launch, that's a good one, right? It's good to have your tokens bond to reduce the supply. And also we've got another 40% that's going to be added to Uniswap. Now this is a good one for me right here, okay, because if 40% is going to be added to Uniswap as liquidity, this right here is a good one, because that means it's going to have enough liquidity. Okay, when you're researching new projects like this, you want to make sure that they have enough liquidity before launch, because if that's not the case, when they launch and a pre-sale whale decides to sell their tags, then you might lose your money, because the price might just drop to almost nothing, and then you might just lose your investment. Okay, so you want projects like this to have enough liquidity before launch. Now this is where you also would want to pay close attention to, where it talks about 10% for marketing, and then 5% to join Steed stations, and another 5% to be donated to charity, right? If you add all of this, that's going to be about a 20%. Now if these guys are scammers, there would be misappropriation of these funds right here. They could spend this money on themselves, and it would affect the price of the Steed token. So the thing here is kind of really dependent on the integrity of the people behind this project, and this is where it now becomes important for you and I to know the team behind the project, right? Talking about the team, when I came here, I kind of looked at a few things. So there are no faces behind this project, as you can see right here. You would expect a project like this to have the faces of the people behind the project to be here, but we don't have any, so the project is not dogs. Okay, so this is a red flag. Okay, but we should also understand that there are some projects that started like this without any public face behind the project and yet did well. For example, the Shiba Inu started, we just had a pseudonym behind the project, and yet it did well, right? But usually the thing is, if you want to invest in a project these days, it's kind of more like gambling, okay? Because the DeFi space now is filled with a lot of scammers. When you see a genuine project, you wouldn't even be able to tell these days, because even when you use the most sophisticated of methods to try to find out their scammy techniques, they will still find one or two other ways to come from the back door to steal your money, right? So we need to pay very close attention to some of these little details. Okay, another thing I looked at was their marketing strategy. You could have a good project with a bad marketing strategy, and when that's the case, then forget about it. You ain't gonna make any money from the project, because the team behind the project needs to pull awareness from investors from the crypto space for a lot of investment to take place, for the price to kind of go up, for you to be able to take your profits. All right, so the next thing we're looking at here is their governance, right? If you look at this project here, it's a governance token, and what this really means is that if you own this project, when there is a proposal on how to make the community or the project better, you would then have the right to vote, right? Because having the token in your wallet gives you the right and the power to vote, right? And the proposal with the highest vote wins. So back on their website, before we look at the source code of this project to see a few things about the source code, let's look at their utility, right? Looking at the website here, you can see they're talking about this app right here. They're going to develop this app That's a good one. And then here are a few things they are actually going to provide for the community, right? They're going to have the Steed swap. This would be where you can swap your token, right? And then they're going to have the Steed station, the Steed farm. There are a few other things, right, you can actually get from the white paper, right? So right here on Etherscan, if we scroll down where it says contracts and click on code, we're gonna see the code right here. The first thing that doesn't appeal to me right here is the compiler version. Okay, this is a new project. Why use this compiler version when there are other more updated version of Solidity that could have been used? Okay, so well, I don't know why they kind of went for that, but I don't actually like it when projects are using lower versions of this programming language. However, I did look at the source code. I couldn't find any mint function, and I couldn't find any function that allows fees to be manipulated, right? So those are a few good ones right there. And another right thing I also observed was that ownership has been renounced, right? But renouncing ownership, we need to understand this, is very important. Renouncing ownership these days does not translate to. So to get a summarized information about the project, you can come to Token Sniper right here and paste the contract address, and there are a few things that are already good about the project here. So we can see the token is sellable, the buy fee is less than 5%, the sell fee is less than 5%, the contract has been verified, the source of the contract has been verified, and ownership is renounced, and creator is not allowed some special permission. Okay, so I actually tried to see if there are some shady functions in the code. When I was reading it, I couldn't find any. So you can see it's also a corroborating evidence here, and then the creator's wallet has less than 5%. We can actually check that on Etherscan to check the holders tab to check that, of course. And then, but there are a few things here. Let's start with the one right here. It says liquidity pool not found. So now I've done a lot of videos about liquidity. Okay, you might want to check the description of this video to learn more about how you can avoid scams, right? So but here, when you look at a project and it tells you that the liquidity pool is not found, if the project is still on pre-sale, then this is really not an issue, right? Because from the website we already know that at launch they're going to be adding liquidity to the Uniswap DEX, right? To Uniswap, right? So they're going to be adding 40% liquidity to Uniswap. So if liquidity is not found during pre-sale, it is not an issue, right? So here, all other holders possess less than 5%. So basically, it's trying to tell us that a wallet contains a substantial amount of tokens, which could have a large impact on the token price if it is launched or when it starts selling on DEX, right? So basically, that's a red flag right there. Okay, so what's my take right here? What am I saying? Well, this is not financial advice. There are a lot of projects that started out with a lot of risk, and today they are successful. They've made a lot of people millionaires. But there are a few other projects that started out with perfect code, perfect white paper, and yet they rogged. Okay, so you see, developers these days have shady ways of still confusing you and I. You need to be able to know how to read a code to be able to actually see some of these nitty-gritties that lead to scams, right? So you have to invest wisely. If you must invest in any pre-sale, make sure you're training the amount of money you can afford to lose. In my next video, I'm going to be looking at another token that is actually trending at the moment. You might want to get subscribed and turn on the notification bell to be notified when that video goes live. So this is Presale Bees, and it's your guy Ken signing out.